text or WhatsApp messages and make your contributions on the floor at Rise and Shine. Good morning once again.
Okay, so good morning,
Good
Uyai.
morning, darling.
Another day on set, and
Yeah.
it's a beautiful day. It's a Friday, and it ends the um, the month of March. Actually, a lot of things have happened, and we're super excited about it. A lot of things have happened in terms of things happening in the country. A lot of things have happened in terms of things happening in the state. And even if you look at individual lives, you know that a lot of things have happened. There are families that have gone through so much, the past 3 months, coupled with all the things that have happened in the country, from the cash crunch to fuel scarcity to the elections. And of course, we're still talking about elections and all the aftermath of the elections, which has led to series of protests across the country and all of that. But as a way to start this morning, we are just going to bring you a flash news. And on a flash news this morning, it says Tinubu petitions NBC, which is the Nigerian Broadcast Corporation, and demands sanctions of a particular private television channel's television. And the reason for this petition is that they granted the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Ahmed Baba Dati, an interview where Dati came on set and said that it was the Labour Party that won the 25th of February presidential elections and not the APC, and went further to say that Tinubu should not be sworn in on the 29th of May because he did not keep to the constitutional rules. He did not win by the constitutional rules that govern, when a president is supposed to win outrightly, and that is the issue of the 25% that he did not get in Abuja. Rather, it was Peter Obi that got that 25% in Abuja. So because of that, Tinubu is saying that the MBC should be petitioned, and demands also for sanctions on Channels Television.
That's a really big stride at this time, and it's worrisome, especially when you see that a lot is happening, and more like the media is the fourth estate of the realm. So we are meant to offer, the balance between government and the people and the government, and it's also a platform where people can actually air their views, within guidelines and construct. But when we begin to see things that looks like people are moving in an attempt to guard the media, take away the freedom of speech, now that's the problem. And our only hope is going to be that the NBC will not just jump, on that directive or on that suit, but will, take that feed, look at it again, scrutinize it by, the governing laws of the NBC, and do accordingly, not just because one person has sneezed, everyone disappears. So let the proper process of probing into a situation be carried out. Was Dati Ahmed in his right to make his statement? Your fight should even be against Dati Ahmed or the Labour Party, maybe not the media house. But all of that is, what is currently brewing, and we expect that proper investigations will be made before sanctions are delivered.
Yeah, definitely. And I like the fact that you raise the issue of gagging the press. When something is said, the next thing a set of people or a group of people are saying, look, let's sanction this particular media house. You remember also during the elections too, NBC was always of the opinion that you better be careful of the kinds of things that you say as a media house. If not so, you will be slammed and all of that. So it puts some kinds of restrictions and limitations, as to what media houses are supposed to do and not supposed to do as well. And it makes you in that position where you don't even know what you're going to say that would actually attract a sanction from NBC and all of that. So that's a serious form of gagging. It gags the media houses to a great extent, and then also it limits, or rather limits your freedom of speech. So people are always very scared, very how do I put it now, but very scared actually, you know, to come on and say things, you know, express themselves. It's not just saying things but expressing themselves. So it puts you in that space where you don't even know what to say. And let's not forget, the media is the fourth estate of the realm.
Exactly.
And we're supposed to be watchdog to government.
Exactly.
Okay. And all the activities that government is doing, we're supposed to be the spokesperson for the common man, you know, that does not have a voice. We cannot bring all Nigerians all around the world into a particular media house and say talk. No, we are the ones that have the ears of the common man. We are the ones that have the ears in this on the streets of Nigeria. So we listen to these things and then come and let government know about them. Look at what you do with reach out, going to communities. Now, a lot of government presence is not felt in those communities. So if we don't come back and say it the way it is, you know, it limits even those in those rural areas. They do not have some form of succor. But when we say these things, obviously it gives government an opportunity to review. Okay, so we have done so far, we haven't done this, we haven't done that, but these people are in their need. Let's see how we can do these things, you know. And then government actually goes to those places and tries to put one or two infrastructures together, you know, to make these people have some sense of belonging and all of that. So I don't also think that it is just right for anybody to just stand up and say, let's begin to sanction media houses, let's begin to clamp down on the press and all of that. The clamping down on social media activities, I know the kind of uproar it brought, you know, when Lai Mohammed was of the opinion that we should begin to have social media regulations and restrictions and all of that, you know. So we know the kinds of issues that it brewed at the time. It was more like, oh, why do you want to gag? But again, for social media, there should be some kind of a certain limit of regulation actually, because people just wake up and post anything on social media, bring out fake messages, fake information, and then you know what fake information can actually do to a country or even the economy of any country. But I think that more investigation should be done, and let's the NBC not just wake up because Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president-elect under the All Progressive Congress, has said sanction channels television and then they go ahead to sanction it. No, I don't think so. Let the right thing be done. If they see that these people erred in any way, fine, then the sanctions can come. But then they have to bring guests on their shows, and these guests have the right to express themselves. So,
and it was just Dati Ahmed's opinion about the election.
Yes, it's his opinion.
It's not necessarily inciting in any way, especially when you say if you were dissatisfied with the results of the election, head to court. He's just saying at this point we are dissatisfied. These are the beliefs, and you know, these are the things that we are taking to court. And it's also important that we know that as part of the things that the media does, the populace, the people are depending on the media to get an insight into what's really happening. So, but when you flip from one media station to the other and everyone seems to be sugarcoating, you know, things the way they happen, at that point, people no longer trust the media, because I mean, at the end of the day, those people are just there.
And do you know that when it gets to a point where the public does not trust the media, it becomes a problem.
Of course,
because they want to begin to get information from any and anywhere. And it's a big problem. And
then people that can, you know, forge fake information will capitalize on that, and you're going to have a bigger problem on your hand. Yes, regulations are, you know, good for the media. More like when you get your facts and figures, your information, sieve it and know how to present it. Yes, that's the work of the media, you know, and the media personnel. But you can't say that people can't, you know, bring up issues the way they are and try to rationalize and express them, especially when they're like guests on the show. So, but this is a major problem.
Yeah, it is.
From this election season, we've seen all kinds of sanctions flying about, you know, but then the media will still do what the media is meant to do. If we do not have opposition parties, you know, in terms of
standing up to be watchdogs,
the media should be able to stand up also. So imagine we had a strong system of opposition parties in Nigeria and the media. To a very large extent, we'll move further in our country.
Yeah, definitely. And that is why they say that if the media tells you it is 7 o'clock, then know that it is 7 o'clock. And that's why we are very conscious, you know, of little things, details, as little as telling the time. So the time has to be exact, because when once people hear that it is 7 o'clock from a radio station, they know that it is 7 o'clock.
Yeah. That even takes my mind back to, I think we had a certain activity just when the court and the CBN had come back to say we can use the old naira.
Exactly.
You know, our sister station, our vernacular station,
Yeah.
it was all over the city when people said we cannot start using, you know, that old naira in the city unless we have heard Tangsio FM say it.
Yes.
You know, the people in the rural communities that understand just our language, or even everyday people, market sellers, everybody said until we have heard it from Tangsio FM, we will not believe, you know, that the government has actually said so. So the media has what they are doing, you know, at this time. So let's be guided. The NBC shouldn't just hop and jump on whatever suits are flying about. Let everything follow the NBC's you know, system and proceedings, as it were. But of course, a lot of things are happening in Nigeria.
There's another flash news.
Yeah. Okay. Of course, this is a good one. We see this is PDP reversing Anyim fire share and other people's suspension. Of course, that was last week. We had a lot of suspensions coming out of the People's Democratic Party.
Because some people did not win their wards and their local government areas and their states, so they had to be clamped down on and sanctions given.
And you're wondering, when you say you did not win your ward and your local government, are you supposed to force the people in the ward and the local government to go and vote for someone they do not believe in? That's another conversation on the side about this whole you didn't win your ward thing. Let's say they put in the work, but yet it did not turn out in the numbers. Just know that the people did not want that person in that capacity, right? But now the National Working Committee of the People's Democratic Party today has reviewed, that was yesterday, today's Friday.
Yeah, today's Friday.
You know, on Thursday, reviewed and reversed the suspensions of some of its chieftains. Members whose suspension was lifted include former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose, former Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Anyim Pius Anyim, Professor Dennis Itaya, Dr. Anslam Aliyu, and His Excellency Ibrahim Shima. Of course, the statement was given by the PDP National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunkaba.
I just think that maybe the PDP is trying to put their houses together. You know, there's been series of issues. We have not had the last yet of the suspension of IU and the stepping down of IU as well. So I think that PDP at one end is trying to see how they can bring their house together again, do a mop-up cleanup actually, and then see how they can move forward. Because if at the end of the day they are not able to, you know, reclaim a mandate they feel is stolen, there will definitely be an opposition party again for the next 8 years. So this is PDP trying to do a mop-up. But we are very quickly now, let's look at our very first major story of the morning. And that is the fact that the Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Ngige, yesterday said that the federal government has approved a pay raise for civil servants in the country. I think that for me, that's some really great news. Now, when they talk about minimum wage, I know that there was a time in the country when minimum wage was about 8,500. And then it raised to, I think, about 20-something thousand. And as we speak, the minimum wage is at 30,000 naira. And you look at when you put the minimum wage side by side with all of the things that people are going through in the country, with even how the economy is, you would know that 30,000 naira cannot take you anywhere. And that's why a lot of people today, aside from doing jobs, want to get multiple streams of income, you know, so that at the end of the day, they get incomes from different places that will be able to help them, you know, sort out their bills and all of that. So I think that if the Minister of Labor and Employment, Chris Ngige, is saying that, look, the administration, this particular administration, is going to be giving civil servants a raise in payments of salaries. I think that is really great news, and Nigerians will be happy for that. Even though they say that the president has not given an accent to it yet, we are just hoping that he will do that. But again, you would ask a question: why are we having all of these, things happen, towards the wrap up of President Muhammadu Buhari's administration? Why didn't we have it like in the first 4 years that he was president? Why are we having it now? So most of the things that we are having now as assent to some constitutional reviews, some salary increase, some this, some that, it's for the next administration. So Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if eventually is being sworn in on the 29th of May, that means he has a whole lot to be doing. But again, they talked about continuity, and when he was, consolidation. When he was doing his campaigns, he was, point blank on the fact that when he comes, he wants to come and consolidate on the gains of this present administration. So definitely he's going to be carrying a whole lot on his back as he begins, governance by 29th of May.
This sounds like news that is worth celebrating, actually.
Yeah.
But the twist to this is actually the fact that Chrisland did not give the expected percentage of increment.
Yeah.
We're just hearing that, okay, the federal government has been, incited to put up an increment in salary structure, but we do not know, because when you come out and then you're celebrating a 5% increase, that's from 30,000 to 35,000 to cushion on the hostilities that we are facing in the economy. Then workers will be the ones to tell whether they'll be able to celebrate a 5,000 naira increment and all of that. But this looks like a little bit of hope. We only hope that the percentage is, something to celebrate about. And again, Chrisland also pointed out the fact that this was contained in the budget of the committee of his agency now, the NLC, for the 2023 budget. It's already there. Okay. So it's something that has long been in the works. Once the budget is being reviewed, as it is currently being reviewed for different MDAs, it's expected that, when the assent comes to that, we can now know how much is, being given to these workers across different levels, as it were. But this is a good move. We are still waiting for the president, Muhammadu Buhari, to give accent to this. But at this time, it's good to know that it is in the 2023 budget, and then it's backdated to January 1st.
Oh,
so
fantastic.
it's expected that once it's accented to, we will maybe civil servants, public servants will be receiving backlogs, counting from January, February, March now, hopefully.
Depending on when the president actually gives assent to it.
Yeah, so you can imagine if you say the president president has till May 29. So if you say he gives assent to it the month of April, so to speak, you're now going to be having an arrears of 4 months paid as increments. And I think that could also help a lot of families in this time. I think we're having a conversation or a particular news item that we read yesterday, something we talked about, I think, the fact that a lot of Nigerians are below the poverty line. So even if we begin to see policies like this, attempts like this come out, it's not like it's going to take people out of that line immediately, but it can just put us on a path where in the next couple of years we can say we have done we made a little bit of progress. But this looks like good news. I'll be careful to not overly celebrate, because the percentage is very important.
Yeah, very, very important. But it also shows that government is sensitive to the plight of the common Nigerians, just like Ngige has explained, that the monies will help government workers navigate through inflation, high cost of living, high electricity tariff, a high cost of transportation too. So I think that government is sensitive actually to the plight of Nigerians, and that's why the talks about a pay increase in minimum wage is very, very necessary at this time. But again, I'll still continue to ask, why are we doing it now?
Why is everything happening now?
Why is everything happening now? Why didn't it happen before this particular time? But it's good. It's never too late to start something meaningful, something great as well. So kudos kudos to the federal government as we also await for President Muhammadu Buhari to give an accent to this particular one. But again, maybe we would say congratulations to Nigerian workers. It will also stem the tide of a lot of going on strike and going on protest and all of that. But we know that the last protest wasn't because of pay raise. It was rather because of shortage of naira issues in the country, and that's why they wanted to go for that strike or that protest, which they did not actually go. We are hoping that all of those things are actually resolved and Nigeria is a better place for everybody. But let's leave it at that and go now to our very next story, which is actually somewhat pathetic. Some months ago we saw in Chrisland Secondary School where a particular child, lost her life, and we know that there were just a lot of discrepancies according to the story surrounding the death of that child. We saw her mother come out, to cry foul as to what happened to the child in Chrisland. I think she was just about 12 years, and eventually I know that Lagos state government also shut down Chrisland secondary school on that regard, and a lot of arrests were made as well as to that as well. But yesterday we found out that the principal and all the staff of Chrisland secondary school were actually released on bail. We do not know what the court has actually arrived at some of the investigations that have been made, but at some point I know that this child has been buried as well, but at some point it was also said that look, the child was electrocuted. So I don't know the findings of the court as we speak, but I think that there's a whole lot more that needs to be done, to bring justice for this child. And let's not also forget that Christian has been on the news for a lot of very negative stories. Are they shutting down the school? Are they revamping? Are they doing a total overhaul? There's something that needs to be done to Chrisland School, and not just saying that the principal and those that were arrested in connection with the death of this child have been granted bail.
It is such a sorry situation, and because when you hear that something has happened to a child in school and then the parents were not informed on time, and more like the school was trying to shroud the information, and then you move ahead after hearing the child is dead, go for an autopsy saying that a child was electrocuted in school. You're now wondering, was it a deliberate electrocution or what, or was it accidented? That's something that needs to be investigated. But of course the case is currently in court, and would keep fingers crossed to see what we need to be able to establish motive behind this. Was it deliberate or just an accidental situation and the girl got caught in the web of that? But it's a sorry situation for the her family. But then again, you're looking at an extension into families that have children in Christmas school. You have to review the mental health of children who go to school there. How do they feel? There is bad information circulating about their school, in the city. How does it make the children feel? So at this point, it will also be important for parents who have wards in Chrisland schools to pay particular attention to their children, because you might try to think, oh, it's not my child that got affected, but this news, the fact some of them were classmates with this, the late child. So it's important that due process is taken. Now, on the other side, when you hear that the court has granted Chrisland school principal and other staff members bail, it might be agitating for some people. Why do you grant them bail when we have not ascertained what exactly happened to the child?
But justice has not yet been brought.
Justice has not yet been served. But then again, in the process of investigation of things and all of that, no one is guilty until the court proven so. But at this time, it's just investigations that are made, and really in the face of the law, they are depending on what the law sees about their particular case. They of course have been granted bail because the law deems fit for them to do so, or else we believe they won't be granted. So we just more like ask the public to understand with the proceedings of the case, believing that the justice system will serve justice in this particular situation.
Yeah, definitely. And we continue to pray for the repose of the soul of Whitney or Adediran, the 12-year-old that lost her life electrocuted in Chrisland Secondary School. And we also pray that Lagos State government will put some very serious checks on some of the schools. When you hear the amount of monies parents pay in these private secondary schools, you wonder what exactly are they doing. There's serious neglect going on in those schools. There's serious negligence on the part of teachers and even caregivers in some of the schools. I think government needs to stand up for parents and needs to stand up for students in Lagos State as well. But at this point, we'll just take a very short breather and we'll join Mary Joseph, who's standing by for the news briefing. When we come back, trust me, we still have daily spotlight and other stories making the rounds on Rise and Shine. To stay with us.
Business exists only to meet the needs of the people, but there's an extra advantage if your product and services are pitched on a platform that gives you the added advantage over your competitors. For your desired return on investment and so much more, advertise on Spectrum Television, on StarTime's DTH Channel 421 and on free-to-air with a frequency of 12733. Spectrum Television, broadening your horizon.
Nigerian police, which is the only one allowed by Chrisland, our governors have to share police powers with the president as stipulated by the constitution. We do not have a federal government police force. We have the Nigerian police force, which shall be administered, organized, and supervised by the Nigerian police force.
No, my lord, I want to say something. I want to say something here. Perhaps it might also enlarge the scope of people who should be invited here for examination. My lord, if we cannot find those who literally murdered Abiola, who are those people who could be said to be the beneficiaries of the death of Abiola?
Rogers has linked you with some of the killings he did.
He never did.
He linked you with the attempted murder of Hebrew.
He did not.
My lord, the Matters Council is leading the evidence in our matters.
Is this an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord, but you can't be talking about cases which are in court,
Is
my
this
lord.
an adversary proceeding?
It's not, my lord. These cases are in court, my lord. I'm just reminding your lordship.
My lord, sorry, my lord, I think I'll be in cross-examination.
Legally Speaking, a program that deals with legal issues and questions we face as citizens of this amazing country, Nigeria. Legally Speaking. Join us every
Friday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
for Legally Speaking.